Yes, indeed, folks, you're tuning in to Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Tis my name, don't wear it out, or you'll have to buy me a new one. Yes, indeed. It's time for the usual choice, where you get to choose not one, but two topics. No, actually, you don't. Actually, not at all. I'm only choosing one. Because there's a good one here. I like this. I'm primarily, as you may have already guessed if you're a new listener, a raid-centric show. I cover what is important to me as an endgame player. Now, I've been an endgame player for years. I got to level cap and never looked back. Always been a fan of the endgame content, so that's what my show is primarily about. Don't do a lot on PvP, because I'm not much of a PvPer. Not that it's not a legitimate playstyle. But hey, we're mostly raid-centric, so it's nice to get an illusion of choice that is, in fact, raid-centric. This is from Michael Torpy. It's short but sweet, and he says this. With its flexible player cap, wide-ranging and variable difficulty, non-linear instance design, and soon-to-come extendable reset timer, is Ulduar the best instance for casual raiders that has ever existed? That's a good question. That's a really good question, honestly. Now, can I answer it? Now, that's a great question. Now, we can safely say that it's certainly a difficult instance, relatively speaking. WoW Guild Progress will indicate that. Well, you can see that only 50% of those who have raided Ulduar 10-man have even beaten XT. Only 60% of raiding guilds, guilds or players that have raided, have beaten Flame Leviathan, which is unbelievable to me. So, is it because it's not a casual instance? I don't think so. I think that almost everything in Wrath so far has been casually friendly. Why? Well, I suppose you'd have to look at what it really takes to be a casual. Yeah? If we look at the idea of a casual player, you can see the definition as being someone who maybe doesn't play all that much, and plays irregularly, and plays at non-scheduled times when his schedule allows him to. That, I suppose, would be the difference between a casual and a hardcore player. A hardcore player will make room in their life for WoW. Yeah? Whereas a casual player, well, they will find room in their life, and then maybe WoW will go there. If there is any room in their life. They won't go out of their way to reschedule something in order to play some World of Warcraft, to schedule their life around it. Now, of course, what that naturally means is that casual players will suffer as regards to the ability to raid, because they're not willing to commit themselves to specific times. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if you commit yourself to a specific time, you are not a casual player. This is just something that casual players have said to me. It's like, well, I'm a casual player because I don't base my life around WoW, I don't come on at scheduled times. It's like, well, God, I wouldn't want to raid with you. And it's true. Because if you're going to raid, and you're going to raid to any serious degree, then yes, you have to be on for a specific amount of time. There is no way that that is going to change. At all. I mean, for God's sake, we saw the size of instances reduced significantly over TBC and then into Wrath as well, because the instances like, say, BRD, or indeed UBRS or whatever, or Strat, that were too long, and casual players couldn't handle it. Now, I suppose I can accept that, because, hey, casual players have got to have something to do other than fishing. But when it comes to raid instances, it's difficult to do that. And I suppose it comes down to what you call casual friendly. Because a lot of what I've seen, and this is from self-proclaimed casuals, is, oh, it's too hard, I want it to be casual friendly. Now, casual doesn't mean anything as regards to skill level, at least it shouldn't. At all. Why would it? I mean, we already know that WoW is not a particularly skillful game to begin with. I mean, raiding basically comes down until you get to the absolute highest levels of do what you're told when you're told, and don't stand in the fire. It's not really that tricky, let's face it. Any casual player can do that. Anyone that's able to turn up to work every day and do their job with a minimum of mistakes is able to raid. Unless your job's maybe working in McDonald's, I don't know. Even then, I'd imagine you can make a burger correctly. If you can make a burger correctly, then you can certainly raid. Manual dexterity. Getting things in the right order. Don't stand in the fire. Great piece of advice to McDonald's workers. I wouldn't recommend it. Is Ulduar casual friendly? Is it any more casual friendly than anything else? No, not really. I mean, you can say that Nax is more casual friendly because Nax is winged. Yeah, you can complete a wing. Whereas people say, oh, Ulduar's non-linear. Well, it's not really. I mean, it really isn't, actually. There's a preset beginning and end. More so than Nax. Like, you can do the wings of Nax in any order you want. Yeah? But the wings are self-contained. So you do the wings like, right, I'll do the Plague Wing first, then the Spider Wing, then the Death Knight Wing, blah, blah, blah. You can do all of that. And then eventually you'll come to a finite end, so it becomes linear at that point. Ulduar, I mean, here's the linear progression path through Ulduar, right? Flame Leviathan, XT002, Kolaghan, Araya, then the 4 Watchers, which you have to do, then Vezax, then Yogg-Saron. That's the linear path through Ulduar. Don't say because there's a few optional bosses that it's not linear. It is. Don't say because you can do the Watchers in any order that's not linear. It still is. You've still got to do the same bosses. In that respect, you can say that Nax is just as linear. But in that respect, you are never, ever forced to do, say, Flame Leviathan XT002 in that order. You know, that's the order you always have to do them in. There's no way around that. Is it casual friendly? Well, it's a long instance, honestly. And that's not particularly casual or friendly at all. Because you've really got to schedule the time to get through there. Or just have a lot of time on your plate. And it seems to me that casual players don't have that. Why would they? Here's what I think the most casual friendly thing is going to be. It's that Colosseum. No trash. 5 bosses. Or 6. I can't remember which. I think it's 5. 5 bosses. And that's it. No trash. You just go bang, 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 bang. That's casual. That's about as casual friendly as you're going to get. Particularly if you're looking at the casually hardcore people. Oh yes, name dropping there. And while the Colosseum has...
Not 1, but 2 Jormungandr worms.
It has the tribute system as well. So, for the casually hardcore players, the guys who think that just because they're casual, that doesn't mean they're limited in skill. Hey, well, here's your perfect opportunity. The tribute system is the ultimate balancer. It levels the playing field completely. And you know what is going to happen? I can guarantee what's going to happen. People are still going to cry about it. Isn't that casual friendly? Yes, it is in every possible way. You're leveling the playing field. If you can spend a few hours over the course of now 2 weeks, you can keep up with even the most hard of hardcore guilds. As regards to attempts, because they can't do it all day and all night. They're not going to able to do that in heroic modes. I mean, this instance is going to be short. I mean, seriously, even if every fight was 20 minutes in length, you're still looking at 100 minutes. Just under 2 hours for completion. And I don't think everything's going to be 20 minutes. Not a chance. I mean, in my opinion, this is going to be the length of Mount Hyjal. So I'd say that that's the most casual-friendly thing. It's the most casual-friendly instance. I think it's deliberate. It's just a shame they were so friggin' lazy with the design. There were plenty of casual-friendly instances that we've seen, both heroic, non-heroic, raid instances in TBC. And for God's sake, Zul'Gurub was a casual-friendly instance. To some degree. And the only problem with Zul'Gurub is that it had a 3-day cooldown. Hey, just put the extension on that and there you're good to go. Those who don't know, yes, there's going to be an option to extend your raid lock out to 2 weeks. That's casual-friendly, I suppose, but here's the problem. This is why this change actually doesn't really help the defined sense of casual that we've come up with. You talk about casual players as people that can't attend raids at a specific time. Then how exactly is extending that lockout going to help? It's not, is it? Not at all. I mean, these are the same guys that pug. Do you think that being on a 2-week lockout is going to help for a pug? I certainly hope that the guy who's leading the raid can't set that for everybody, because, oh god, that's going to be worse. Oh, he set it to 2 weeks? Great, I'm locked out for 2 weeks. I assume it must be individual. It must be an individual setting. I haven't honestly had a chance to try it. I don't even know if it's on the PTR at this point. So I would say that the Colosseum is going to be the best bet, but there are plenty of examples in the past that have been casually friendly. UBRS was a raid instance that was casually friendly. It was. It didn't take that long at all. You can pug it. And it had no lockout timer. What about Zul'Gurub? Casually friendly. AQ20, casually friendly. These smaller instances. And they just happen to be designed that way. It's not because there were 20 mans, it's just because that's the way they were designed. Zul'Gurub, you could pop in there and get to a boss in 5 minutes flat. Kill a couple of bosses in under an hour. Get a pickup group, go in there and do it. Do it in any order you please. There's a difficult boss, skip it, go do another. A lot of the TBC instances would have been like that had they not been so monumentally freaking difficult, at least initially. Stuff like Tempest Keep. It's only got 4 bosses in it. Technically speaking, you could pick up a pug and go blast your way through that. Wouldn't take you too long at all. Did people do it? No, because pugs suck. Now, if you want to make something that's casually friendly, you've got to somehow educate the pugs to be better than they are, and that's a task in itself. That's a real problem. So will it ever be able to make a raid instance that's truly casually friendly? The Colosseum's about as close as you're gonna get. Honestly. I mean, you're gonna be able to gear up from badges and whatever. Go in there and then we'll see. You know, that's gonna separate the men from the boys, isn't it? Let's see if those so-called casuals... And I'm not knocking all of the people that play casually, there's plenty of them. Heck, they play more than me right now. But these so-called casuals that claim they would be as good as the hardcore guilds if only they had 24 hours a day to play, well, here's your chance to prove it. Let's see you go in there and get some world firsts. Is it going to happen? No. No, it isn't. Are you even going to be competitive? Probably not. Let's see if they whine in the forums for the nerf. Most likely. But remember, folks, it's going to be awesome because it has...
Not 1, but 2 Jawmanga worms.
I'm waiting for the invariable nerf where they take away one of the Jawmanga worms because it's not casual friendly. Ladies and gents, I am about done with today's Blue Please. Thank you ever so much for listening. You are, as always, a fantastic audience, and we're very glad to have you here on WCRadio.com. My next show will be, again, Blue Please next Friday. I'm not doing Game the System this week because we're preparing to go on air with the Spectacular on the 28th of July with our new co-host, Swag. If you want to check out who Swag is, go to WCRadio.com, front page, look for his YouTube channel, his podcast. He is one mighty, mighty fellow. It's like a more metal version of Gnome Wise. You'll like him. He's awesome. Shout-out time, folks. You got a couple of minutes, send me your shout-outs via themurloc@gmail.com or PM me on IRC, irc.mmorc.com, #poundwire or click the chat button on the top of the screen. Alternatively, send me a tweet at Total Biscuit. That is @Total Biscuit. Go send it over. You've got 2 minutes to get your shout-outs in. Yes, you do. So let's get right on with it. Shoutouts! Shoutouts to the Devil's Rejects on Ice Crown US from Schmears. Hope the rating is doing well. Can I have a shoutout to Carpe Omnius on Sporigar EU, and especially to Apola, as he's about to lose 2 guild lieutenants for a fortnight. Remember, bring the bloodlust, not the player. Love from Beefy and V. Hey, Mr. Biscuit, love the show. I tune in every week. Can I get a shoutout to Revela on Agamagaman EU and the guild Kitty Spins? Great thanks, big thanks. Yes, you can, in fact, have that. Shout out to... What the hell is that? Huh, there we go. Shout out to... Hey there, TB, Sifaya here. Finally managed to get my leveling spree going. I'm about half a bar to 79, and for once actually enjoying myself. I'd like a few shout outs if possible. First one to Nika, who's been helping me all the way through the long grind. Another goes to my mains guild, Umbra. Just beating Yogg-Saron +1 and loving it. Thanks a lot. P.S. May I have an epic in the mountains?
Epic.
In the mountains. In the mountain.
Not 1, but 2 Jawmanga worms.
In the mountains.
Oh god, it's an overload. Have I got a time for another shout out? Yes, I do. Shout out to Fayara for tuning in for the first time from Count the Moonkin. Getting a shout out to Fricassee and Eleanor on Spinebreaker EU for being PvP and PvE odds. Shout out to Honor's Wrath on Velen US for being awesome, even though I left. And one last but not least, shout out to not one, but two Jawmanga Worms from Keister. Ladies and gentlemen, I am done. I'm spent. And I am out of here. I have been Total Biscuit. You've been listening to Blue. Please check the rest of our fine shows out on WCRadio.com and iTunes. You'll be glad that you did. Next show coming up tonight, 7 p.m. EST. That's midnight BST, 1 p.m. 1 a.m. in fact, European Server Time. It's Kadwali and Dunko with the mighty Wild Things Considered. I am done, folks. Good night.